Hello, Internet. I'm Evan Deshevsky, features editor with PCMag.com. Welcome to The Convo. In my opinion nation, we have got a great show today. You probably recognize today's guest for her role as Dr. Amy Fowler on the biggest sitcom in the world, The Big Bang Theory, and as the star of the show Blossom. She was young Bette Midler in the movie Beaches, or maybe you even recognize her from the horror movie Pumpkinhead. Remember Pumpkinhead?
Wow.
Yep. But she's done a whole bunch of other cool stuff off screen. Notably, she holds a PhD in neuroscience. She's the founder of the lifestyle website Grok Nation. She's cornered the vegan Pareve cookbook market, and is the author of the new book that is out right now, Girling Up: How to Be Strong, Smart, and Spectacular. Mayim Bialik, PhD, welcome to The Convo.
Thank you, Pete. You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, now for those of you at home, the show is called The Convo, not The Dialogue. So if you have any questions, ask them in comments, and Social Pete will read them throughout the show. And if you're watching this after the fact or listening to a podcast and you still have a question for Mayim, tough luck. Okay, so this is a cool new book. It came out today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
Okay,
Yep.
So it's out for sale now. Now, I am not the target audience for this, but it...
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily?
No.
Okay.
No, the book is written for 10 to 18-year-old girls, yes.
Is this-
I mean, it's very clear that you are not a 10 to 18-year-old girl, but other people can also benefit from this book.
Enjoy or give it to us, say, as a gift.
Correct.
But is this an Our Bodies, Ourselves for Generation Z?
A little bit.
Yep.
It has been compared to that. Basically, I took my science background and my interest in the process of girling up from being a girl to a woman, and I was an unusual child, an unusual teenager, and I'm an unusual woman. So I wrote this book for all sorts of girls who do fit in, girls who don't fit in, kind of to encourage a larger understanding. Can I put it down? Because it feels too. I think it's nice, and I know that my publisher appreciates it, but it feels a little bit like an ad if it's like right.
Okay, but it's very science focused. So I guess there we go. So the first question I have is, why does my stomach do a flip-flop when I run into my crush in the hallway?
Is that on the jacket?
Yes.
Like have this answered? I don't know that we actually, it's funny because I talk a lot about sort of the hormones and sort of the neurobiology behind attraction and some of the hormones that are involved in those feelings of love and attraction and lust. The short answer is serotonin.
Sure.
The longer answer is adrenaline and dopamine.
Now, see, I keep a small mental list of celebrities who pursue advanced degrees after they've gained some success. So you're obviously on there.
Thank you.
James Franco's got some degrees. The lead
Yes.
singer of The Offspring has a doctorate in molecular biology. He's actually doing research right now on AIDS. That is true. Look that up. But what's interesting to me is that you didn't really need to pursue this financially. I think you're doing pretty good after Blossom, I think. But there was still value
You're
in
making
it.
a lot of assumptions about
Really? Okay.
my life and career in the 90s.
That was a big hit show. It was after The Fresh
I
Prince.
did not become a neuroscientist to become a millionaire.
Okay.
But there are many.
Pursue it, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't know. Why did you decide to leave acting and actually go pursue that route?
So it actually wasn't a financial decision. It was more of a, more of an intellectual one. I wanted to be appreciated for what was inside of my brain and not just sort of what I could offer to people. I was never terribly comfortable with fame. I was on Blossom from the time I was 14 to 19, but 3 of my 4 grandparents are immigrants, and I was raised with a real kind of strong immigrant value of going to college and kind of wringing the most you can out of the opportunities available to you.
I'll just throw it out. If you're Jewish, you don't really have a choice not to go to college.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Even if you had your own TV show.
Right.
Yeah.
So now I've seen you on shows and I'm meeting you now, is that you're super charismatic and charming.
Oh.
But on Big Bang Theory, you're less so.
You think? Well,
I feel like most of the characters are a bit of emotionally stunted, and I don't know. Do you think we're giving a bad type to science people?
Well, I think that this is something that sorry, touched your hand, that was weird. I think that a lot of people do say that we perpetuate the stereotypes of nerds and of geeks. To be quite honest, I know plenty of people like all of those characters. My character, Amy, is actually based on a few female professors that I actually knew and felt a tremendous fondness for. And also, I happen to find, charismatic and charming a lot of things that mainstream society does not. So I happen to tend to gravitate towards nerds and geeks, both as my friends and as romantic partners. So I appreciate you saying I'm charming, but at most parties you'll find me like glued up against the wall sweating because I don't feel comfortable being there, which would put me better in the category of the people I went to grad school with.
Gotcha.
We're generally all wallflowers.
Well, let's just keep it on Big Bang for a second. What are the? Are you guys have a set? How many more seasons do you think are going to go?
We have. It's not about thinking; it's about knowing. We have 2 more that I know of.
Okay.
We just finished season 10, and actually the finale's tonight.
Okay.
Like literally tonight. If you're watching this live, the finale's tonight on CBS. We have 2 more years, all of us contracted. And really a lot of this is determined on statistics and how long you're the #1 show, which we have been for several years now, or the #1 comedy. And then there's smart people trying to decide with graphs and charts and algorithms how long we can last.
Well, how about you? After the show's done, do you think you're going to stick with acting, or do you actually want to keep doing research?
I've been on Big Bang Theory for 7 years, so it's been a while since I have taught neuroscience. I do teach a modified neuroscience course for my sons who are 8 and 11. But no, like once you've had this kind of sort of public presence, you can't really go back to like teaching in a college or something. And
James Franco did.
Yeah, but he's James Franco. I'm a little bit like him. Like sometimes I read things about him, I'm like, oh look, he's a little bit like me. Too much, no, I don't think that would really. I think that would be more of a distraction factor. And to be quite honest, I've actually never thought about this. Being a woman in science and already having. A little bit of a challenge as we women do historically in, kind of being equally represented and equally respected in these fields, I think might make it extra difficult for me to kind of walk off a TV screen and back into a lecture hall.
Facebook, I see you have a question.
When are you at your most confident self?
That's a very personal question, isn't it? When am I at my most confident self? That's a good question. I kind of want to answer it like never, because I never feel super confident. There are times as a parent when the day goes just like well enough, like we're not late, I don't lose my keys, I don't like step in a puddle. Like when the day goes start to finish, like I was able to do the things that I was supposed to do as these people's parent, and no one's starving or dehydrated, and then everyone gets into bed and we go to sleep. Honestly, that feels like, wow, like I did this. And I didn't do it perfectly, I'm certain of that. But I think that's when I feel most like, wow, I got this right. Just today, I take it one day at a time.
Do the kids watch the show?
No, my children do not watch The Big Bang Theory.
Okay.
They don't watch episodical television.
Okay.
I don't have cable myself, and we just don't do that.
You're a cord cutter? Oh, high five.
What does that mean?
That means you don't have cable on purpose.
Oh, yeah. Well, wait,
yeah.
So I didn't have cable even when there was no Netflix.
Right.
Like I really didn't have TV.
Okay.
And now when you say that to people, are like, yeah, me neither, but I watch Hulu. And I'm like, no, I don't have that either.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm a cord cutter. I'm my own version of off the grid. On the grid, but off the grid.
Facebook, you have a question.
Has anyone pitched you a Blossom reboot?
Many people have pitched me a Blossom reboot, but I like to point out that that's really Chuck Lorre's decision because I'm employed by Warner Brothers and CBS very happily, and it's more of a legal question than a desire question. I actually saw Michael Stoyanov last night, who played my older brother on Blossom. We posted a picture on Instagram just for kicks, and it got picked up by all these outlets. So we all have positive relationships. It's nothing like that, but it's more of a kind of technicality, a legality.
These days, walking down the street, do you get more whoas or more bazingas?
More bazingas.
More bazingas? Okay. I mean, the woes are still there.
You just proved that.
Yes. So you're very active on social media with Grok Nation and all that.
Correct.
I will actually say this: you go to battle with the trolls.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
It's funny because many people think that I'm very confident, because I do sometimes go to battle with trolls. I mean, honestly, I think there is a difference between a classic troll and then a person who really wants to use this kind of arena as a battleground for their beliefs. And so I'd like to make a distinction, between that. So I don't really engage with people who are just kind of ranting to rant.
Right.
But I also sometimes do it, not even because I believe that I have the confidence to say it, but because especially for the young women who follow me, I want to show them that if someone says, oh, you're a feminist, you hate all men, I want to show them this is the way you speak about it. That yes, I am a feminist and I actually love men, and feminists don't hate men, that's not the definition, get out a dictionary. So I actually think it's important for some people to hear how people with a public platform can respond to that in an intelligent way. And of course I ignore a lot of things, like you're so ugly or Jews should die. But other than that, I really try and see what are people picking up on, and sometimes there is value that I can offer to the people who follow me.
Facebook, you have a question.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Don't wear knee socks, just at all, ever. No, I think the advice I would give my younger self would be that well, I think it would be sort of a reality check that if I were talking straight to my younger self, you're never going to be like other girls or other women, but the pain that you feel about that will diminish as you find other people like you, and as you mature, and as other people mature, and as you learn to place more distance between yourself and people who want you to be something you're not. Oh.
Why don't you straddle?
My younger self would appreciate that.
You straddle two worlds between kind of like STEM and the humanities as an actress. Now, this is a topic just we talk about it here a lot, is the importance of STEM education. But I often bring up that I fear we may be going too far the other way and breaking away from the humanities in education. So as a mother, and
I
as
don't think you should fear that, but okay.
Okay. No, I get a lot of pushback when I bring up this idea. But like as a parent and as someone who's in both these worlds, what do you think is the proper mix of STEM and humanities?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound confrontational. I think that. So there's also there's a gender divide also, and I think historically women have been underrepresented in all fields because for most of human history they were not in professional fields. Like if you think back, tens of thousands of years. But I think here's the thing. I think that children should be presented with both opportunities to work both sides of the brain, as it were, to pursue science and technology and engineering and math and learn about the wonders of the world, and also to express themselves artistically. I don't think those things have to be so separate. And I also think that it's important to remember that those subjects are not for everyone. And there are differences between the male and female brain that sometimes we do see in terms of what kind of careers people want to embark on, the kind of things that people want to study, and then the ways they want to live their life. We do sometimes see divides on gender lines or on hormonal lines. You do sometimes see that. But I guess the thing that sort of, gets my goat about adding the A into STEM and making it STEAM, I totally get it. And I think the loss of the funding for the arts and the loss of funding for, encouraging playtime and creativity that often fosters artistic expression, that is tragic. But I also think it's okay to say STEM is something that is not really in a lot of people's vernacular, and especially in underserved communities. You often will see that humanities do get expressed or offered, and STEM really doesn't. So I think, in the name of equality, I understand we want to present them both. They're both important. But you also have to look at the child and say, what environment are they growing up in? What's going to best serve them?
When you were in Blossom, were you in high school or were you a tutor?
I was 14 to 19.
Yeah. So you actually went to public high school? Or?
I went to public junior high and high school on the weeks that we were on hiatus, which was about every 2 or 3 weeks for a week. And then our season would end with enough time for me to go back to school for the last 2 months of classes. And then obviously in the summer I wasn't working, and so I would do other things that teenagers do. I was kind of a nerdy kid, but yeah.
Sure. Facebook, you have a question.
Do you feel pressure being a role model for a lot of women?
Yes, I do.
Me too.
I don't. I do. I think that again, a lot of people see me all made up and standing here in a dress, and it's like, oh, she seems to really have it together. And I did an event last night with WebMD because they had me on their cover, and someone said, I have a very fearful daughter, and I look at you and you seem to do it all, and you've got it all, and how can I teach her to be like you? And I said, I'm fearful all the time, and people don't expect to hear that. But I think part of the authenticity that I try and present as a human being is that I appreciate that some celebrities do this, and maybe they really believe it, but I don't stand up here and say my life's amazing and you can do anything. Just put your mind to it. Women are great. Women are great, that's true. But no, there are hard choices we have to make. I make difficult decisions all the time, every day. I'm fearful a lot. I look to other women to inspire me. The notion that I can have a website like Rock Nation, honestly, where people can come and read thoughtful takes on thoughtful things, where we can even introduce ideas that we don't all agree on, but if they're presented in an intelligent way that people can learn from one another, that's really valuable to me. But yeah, I'm scared all the time.
Well, no, but as someone else who was probably very anxious growing up, and then you learn to be less anxious over time.
Some of us. Some get more anxious over time.
But you're on camera. I couldn't do this. I think 10 years ago, I'd be super nervous.
Right.
But what is the importance of faking it? Because that's my key. Is I fake confidence, and then eventually my brain believes me.
Right. Well, yeah. This is there's a Jewish concept about this, and there's also this notion of fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
There are certain things physiologically that are not comfortable for some people who are nervous or anxious. So I can't really fake wanting to go to a large event and fake that I'm comfortable there, because my body has a very distinct set of reactions to there's a lot of people, everyone's looking at me, and I'd like to go home and get in my pajamas.
I mean, that's not happening here or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I think I do agree that sometimes you do the action and the learning comes later. And yes, the more you kind of place yourself in those kind of situations, the more comfortable you do become. And I'm proud of you for that.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, but so what led you to acting then, if you were this nervous person?
So I always enjoyed performing. There was always a comfort for me on stage as a child.
So it's more comfortable on stage than like in social interactions.
Yeah, I think my anxiety came also as I got older, as I went into college, once I left home. I was a much more confident. I was a confident child, even though I was different, didn't always feel like I fit in, but the stage was a very comfortable place. There's a Blues Traveler line, if you want to hide, then find a stage. It's a separate kind of, comfort and protection.
Interesting. Okay, so we do have our lightning round, where it's the same 10 questions we ask
I think
all
we have
our
a
guests.
question from
We do
Facebook.
still
Sorry.
ask your questions.
I don't mean to be bossy.
Pete, what you got?
What drew you to neuroscience?
What drew me to neuroscience? I took a course in psychobiology my first semester at UCLA.
What is that?
Psychobiology is, sort of the, there's a psychology aspect of brain processes, like operant conditioning and things like that, a little bit of Freud, but mostly like conditioning and things like that, and then the biology of what goes on in the brain when we do those kind of psychological experiments. And I fell in love with the action potential and the neuron and how electrical impulses control everything that we process.
Yep.
It really just literally like made me weak in the knees to understand that the firing of an action potential is what leads to all of the impulses that lead to the release of neurotransmitter and everything we experience.
I love it when you talk geeky to me. Okay, so we're doing this lightning round. Still ask questions, Pete. If any come up, let me know. Okay, do you use Windows or Mac?
I use Mac, but I also use a Droid phone, so I'm kind of like a...
That's the next question.
Sorry. I'm like a mixed marriage person, I guess.
Okay, so then the next one is Android or iOS. You use Android?
I use a Samsung, yeah.
Samsung Galaxy?
I'm not paid to say that, but yes.
Okay. No, me too. Love it.
Yep.
Have you recently come across a piece of technology and it made you think, wow, I'm really living in the future?
Yes, when I looked at my phone 5 minutes before here.
Okay.
I'm constantly amazed by technology.
Yep.
People assume that because I have a PhD in neuroscience that like I'm up on everything. I'm not. Like, I saw a new PCR machine. My mother-in-law's a microbiologist, and I saw how small PCR machines are now, and I near lost my mind. Like when we
use
use
a PCR machine?
It's to replicate DNA.
Okay.
It's often used for like exciting things like investigative, like CSI. They're always running PCRs. Like you find a little DNA, you got to make more. But the machines used to be enormous, and now they're super tiny. Anyway.
Facebook, you have a question.
Marvel or DC?
It's like, which child do you like better is really what that's like being asked. As a kid, DC, as an adult, Marvel. But, I'll go with Marvel because they make really good movies.
Where do you get your daily news and information from?
I have a feed on my Samsung, and that's about as much as I can handle these days.
Yeah.
I used to get the New York Times.
Is there anything going on in the world?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I used to get the New York Times, but had some issues with how they dealt with the Middle East situation. So it's very hard to get used to. I grew up with a father who read the newspaper every single day.
Yeah.
So I'm used to that, but sometimes the feed is enough. Sometimes Twitter, but I've actually been on a Twitter break because it was too much.
Yeah.
It was too much. I'm a very sensitive person, and it was disruptive.
Ed Snowden, traitor or hero?
Heather, am I allowed to say this? I find him a hero.
Okay. No. Most people
Are
mitigate
people gonna hate
towards
me?
hero. No.
Am I fired?
We
No.
love you here.
Okay.
Here at PC Mag.
I mean, there are things that I don't like that
Yeah.
are sometimes prickly about him, but yeah, hero.
Will the singularity occur in 2054?
No.
No. Okay. Is there intelligent life out there?
Because you'd have to define intelligent.
A car. No.
A brain that could make a car?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. They have their own
I don't
technology.
know. I'm going to plead
Yeah.
the fifth on that.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I believe there's a God, but I don't know if there's that, so
Okay. It's a consciousness of the universe. Facebook, you have a question.
What words of wisdom would you give to someone who wants to be a scientist?
You're going to make the world an awesome place. Right on.
Is Bigfoot out there?
No.
No? Okay.
God, yes. Bigfoot, no.
What is your go-to drink at the bar?
Often the most expensive Scotch they have.
Okay, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
What you drink?
Well, I'm sure there are more expensive ones, but usually Oban is about as high level,
go.
or anything with
like
the
the
number
Johnnies?
18 around it. No,
that's
I
much.
want a little more like.
We're in the golden age of television right now. Now, you actually kind of answered this earlier. Like, I usually ask, what are you watching these days? So you have
No, I
Blue's
have an
Clues.
answer.
Okay.
No. I just watched the first 2 seasons of The Leftovers.
Okay.
I was a big Lost fan.
Yep. The second season got a lot better.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you on third yet?
No, because I have to wait.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, but actually, I watch a show called The Last Kingdom.
Okay.
And it's about 9th century England and the Saxons and the Danes and the Vikings. It's like Game of Thrones without the rape and gore.
Okay.
It's just, and there's a lot of history, and it's very interesting. The female characters are very interesting, and it's like there are no dragons.
Okay.
A lot of horses, a lot of sword fighting. It's just great.
It's
great.
It's PG-13 Game of
No,
Thrones.
there is some gore,
Yeah.
but it's not for
Excessive.
me. It's
Yeah.
right. It's like,
Yeah.
well, sometimes people's heads get cut off, but
Yeah.
it's not like we have close-ups and anyway.
Facebook, you have a question.
I have judgment about.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
I've only done karaoke once in my life, so I don't have a go-to
us
karaoke
the
song. But
exclusive.
I did. What was that, Heather? What's that song I did? The Rihanna song. Stay. I want you to stay. But it was good.
Give us a few bars.
That was it.
Okay,
That's all you
okay.
get. All alone it was a feeling. That's all I do.
Any more Facebook questions?
Take that as
I
a
don't know what that
no.
is.
It's kind of like a binary thing.
Would you would you do a Big Bang Theory movie?
Oh.
I would. I could.
Will there be a Big Bang Theory?
Not that I know
Yeah,
of. That sounds like another legal question for Chuck Lorre. I don't. Do people want to watch that for 90
Sure.
minutes?
America wants to watch
All right,
that.
I'll put in a request.
Yeah. I'm just going to give a quick program note. Now, we tend to, when we announce the next interviews, they tend to not happen, to get bounced back or something. I'm going to try to break the trend. Okay, so on Monday
Maybe you want me to do this.
at 3 p.m.,
Can I
we're
read
going to have
this?
that gentleman on.
Chuck Klosterman will be stopping by to talk about his new book.
He will be. So that's at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon. Hopefully, I think because she read it, it's going to happen. So tune in then. And then we have a lot of other great stuff, which I will announce at a later date. But if this is your first time watching, give us a like, give us a share, check out some of our past interviews. We've done lots of these. The Convo is also an audio podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher and Grok Nation probably, and all the places. So that's enough for my plugs. What do you want to plug? Get the book.
We talked about the book Girling
Yeah.
Up for girls 10 to 18. My website, Grok Nation. I have a YouTube channel, and it really helps us make more if people subscribe and like those videos. We have a couple that have gone viral. Some are about science, so some are about geeky things. So yeah, I'd go to YouTube. It's my name, and go to Grok Nation and read some of our articles, and I guess buy that book, and maybe watch The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah. Do all
Or
this.
don't.
And maybe Blossom's probably on Hulu or something.
I don't know actually.
Yeah, it's somewhere you can find. If you want Blossom, you can find Blossom.
Okay.
And beaches. Okay, well, thanks to everyone. Thanks to Mayim. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
Please stop by all the times.
Okay.
We love this. And
Thank you.
thank you to Social Pete. Thank you to producer Weston. Thank you to photographer Paul. Thank you to the Peanut Gallery over here. And as always, be good to each other. Peace. Shalom.